up, YouTube? Topaz Jace back for another album review, and this one is to that Meek Mill Wins and Losses, and I'm giving this one the yellow light, which is a little bit disappointing here, dude, because quite frankly, there's a great album in this. It's just he didn't go in the direction that he really needed to go here. Like a certain amount of these songs that he added to this, he probably should have thrown it on the EPs and the mixtapes leading up to this project. He actually tried to be more versatile and do more things with it than what it actually needed to be. Because if you look back at like a classic project that everybody will recognize as that, which is that Young Jeezy Trap or Die, you listen to that, and you can't tell me that this isn't just one song regurgitated over and over and over, but yet all the songs were done on such a high level that people decided to rock with it. This could have been that same exact thing, because when he focuses on his signature sound, that high energy, great quality production type joint, this project is at its very best. But yet when he goes away from that and tries to do some commercialized singles and try to venture off into commercialized trap music and stuff as well, man, that's when it really falls apart. And that's why there's only but 5 songs off of this that I really kind of rock with. But let's go ahead and break this one on down, man, starting with my favorite songs. And my first one would be Wins and Losses, the title track, because this is that signature sound that he does that has high-end production, that got very high energy, that he just delivers trap bars, man. Like what trap bars are is pretty much just rapping about the struggle of trapping and all that. Like there's no core punchlines, there's really no core substance for the most part. But yet Meek Mill, he does it on a much higher level than most people. He actually does have some kind of punchlines within him. Like how he said that he's a stand-up dude, so therefore he can never lie down. Like simplistic, not that great, but yet that's a better attempt than anything that, say, a Young Thug would try to do. Like how he said that he'll never tell on his dogs as they bout that cane like old dog, which is a wordplay based off of Menace to Society, the famous movie and all of that, man. And you know, that kind of works. I mean, it's been done before a ton of times, and it's not a phenomenal play on it, but yet, again, better than anything that 21 Savage said on his entire project, so it's okay. And I'm not trying to hate on these individual people because they do their thing, they go ahead and make their money and all that, but yet there's levels to the quality of trap music throughout these trap bars that's being delivered from both of these individuals, no pun intended. My next favorite song is that Heavy Hearted, because this one is rather deep right here, where he's ultimately talking about the streets and he's talking about the music industry on how it's all leaving him heavy-hearted because it is really not what he thought it would be. And this is something very important that I've said for a very long time. If you decide to dedicate your life to doing something, then you better make sure you know exactly what it is, because people operate off the assumption that the music industry is so phenomenal that all you got is the bad women, that all you got to do is just wake up and smoke weed and record and therefore you've made it and all that. But that's just not reality. Being in the music industry is a job, and coming with that job comes a lot of hate. People violating your privacy, as he touches on Nicki Minaj and all of that stuff on here as well, and then people just straight up betraying you, man. Ultimately a pretty solid track here. My next favorite song off this was that 1942 Flows, as this one was pretty cool because you gotta break it down like what happened in 1942 in order to unlock this entire concept here. And what happened in 1942 was World War II. And that's why he's saying specifically in this song, if you play with him, then he's gonna go all out war on you, man. That's pretty much the play that he's doing on all of this. As he delivers on this more of his trap bars that you should all be pretty much recognizing by now, like how he said, I'll shoot at you like I'm harder than your head is the rim, because people trying to line them up like a shape up in the trim. Like that was interesting based on the wordplay right there, man, but not a phenomenal bar. How he said that he's trying to get chips off of music like Rap Snacks, which that was pretty cool when you understand that Rap Snacks is the potato chips that's sponsored by the Migos. I believe the Migos actually created that joint, man. So it's all a pretty interesting play on words that he's doing for his bars here, but none of it is that amazing. But what makes it dope is the production and that overall energy, the overall flow, the overall track here. My next favorite song is that Made It From Nothing joint. Well, this one was cool as he's breaking down something deep on how, you know, getting success and all that, it makes it that much worthwhile if you struggle in order to get to that point, because that's pretty much what the whole song is about. But yet, my issue with this song is he featured Rick Ross, and Rick Ross did what Rick Ross always does on his features, which is rap not on topic at all. Like, this was a pretty deep topic about enjoying your life pretty much once you reach to the point that you've been struggling to get. But yet, what he's rapping about is he begins talking about a story, saying how this kid got a public attorney and he ended up getting a funeral because of that, which sounded really cool in the terminology that he put it in, but yet that has nothing to do with this. Like, his story is already sealed. He's dead. There's no way he can rise to the top. And my last favorite song is Price, where it's pretty much what the price of the fame and all of that actually is. As this is one of the songs that is featured on the movie that he's been doing individual chapters for. And the thing about that is, whoever's editing the movie is doing a phenomenal job, because the songs that I selected off here that I liked, that was samples and stuff that was within the movie, like, they snatched up the best parts of the song and made it work well with the movie, but yet those individual songs were cool. They just weren't as great as they came off feeling from the actual movie. As the price of fame for Meek Mill is ultimately losing and having to cut off a bunch of friends, a whole bunch of betrayal, people trying to stab him in the back, having his own vices from drinks to drugs, which it all makes sense because people want to imagine that fame and success is this elusive and great thing that everybody should have, but it will wear on you, man, because the pressure that goes along with it will never stop. In the first verse, he's pretty much talking about how he had absolute nothing, like he didn't even have $1 for when the ice cream truck came through, and this was his motivation to get up and get everything that he has right now. And you know, this is something that I've talked about for a while, like his motivational practices is a flip of a coin, you dig? Because that could be just somebody looking at you like, I'm inspired by this guy who got all of this, let me go ahead and get that. While I know for a fact the majority of people will look at you like, look at this dude stunting out of jealousy and almost want to rob you or do something to you because you stunting so hard. Like, it's not a motivational tactic, you're more just stunning on individuals and try to claim it as a motivational practice, but yet to each their own. As lyrically, he expresses this by saying like how he just hopped right out the system and jumped directly into the Forbes list. Like, that was pretty cool right there. I definitely enjoyed that. That is somewhat motivation for anybody who's locked up in the system, that understand that, okay, things ain't really that sweet for an ex-felon and all that that's out here. But those are my 5 favorite songs off this project that has about 18 songs on here, I do believe. And a bunch of these songs I would just not have thrown in here. Like, some of these I would have just threw directly to the EP and mixtape and all that that he came up with beforehand. Like these songs, Whatever You Need and Young Black America, just based off that production right there. Because these are obvious samples that everybody knows these songs from. Like that Whatever You Need, that's that Tony, Tony, Tony. That Young Black America, that's that Jay-Z Mama Raised Me joint. But yet I can kind of understand that Whatever You Need because he did use that as a straight up single for this project. But in the end, I would much rather have Bag Talk or Young Nigga Dreams instead of those songs. And I can understand why he didn't want to include those songs on this, because these other 5 songs that I listed are along the same lines. It may come off repetitive, but like I said before, there's a bunch of projects out there that are known classics that come off as the same songs over and over and over. It's just they were all done on such a superb level that people rocked with it. And that's exactly what he could have did by bringing in the best songs from that EP and throwing it on here and just putting out a 10-track project. And then the songs that he added that were like blatant attempts for him to fit in more with the commercialized trap rap that's out here, man. Like songs like Fuck Up the Trap with Lil Uzi Vert, These Scars with Future, as that's another beat that I've heard multiple times. And then that We Ball with Young Thug. Like, all of these songs could have been thrown to the EP or the mixtape or just scrapped all the way around because they just wasn't necessary. Because the music that he's doing right now, the core theme songs like Wins and Losses, they work for the commercialized trap game already. Like, he doesn't have to try to fit in more with what the game is at. He been doing what all of these people are getting recognized recognition for right now, man. So that was just not necessary. A bunch of songs that he should have just scrapped off, and this could have been a phenomenal project. So overall, man, I'm giving this joint, man, a 7.5 out of 10, but definitely one you should go ahead and cop some individual tracks. But a quick recap here, man. The positives that I'm taking from this is that there is a great album in this. The negatives is he put way too much to it, and it diluted the whole fact that there was a great album in it. But this concludes today's review, man, and now we're going to jump into a brief instrumental from underground producer Hash Beats before we jump into the news, then jump into an article from downloadpads.com. Heard that the front man for Linkin Park committed suicide, man, and that's crazy, dude. But that goes into a lot of things that, you know, I was saying in this review that just happened. Like, a lot of people think that the music industry is so sweet, that everything is just so great once you're in it and you'll always have money and all of this stuff, and that's never the case. Because if life was that great, he probably wouldn't have did this, man. You got to understand how this game is ultimately, man, and how it wears on individual. May that man rest in peace. But anyway, on to today's article from downloadpads.com, and today's article is about completing a thought, because this is a very important thing. Because I see it all too often. People decide they want to do something, and then they hop on it for like a few days, maybe a week, and then they change their mind and try to do something else. Like, they never can complete a thought to save their lives, and that is how you end up being a failure in your life. Like, you have to have a good idea, but yet you need to have the innermost desire to push it to the forefront and be willing to spend 10 years on it if need be, in order for it to get to the level that you want it to be at, if you're going to go ahead to do anything great. You dig? If you're just going to jump from one thing to the next, you're never going to get anywhere, because you'll never complete a thought. It'll never become anything. The ideas will continue to flow to you. Ideas are cheap, but the actual actions, the actual making something out of nothing, that's something that you got to have. I hope you enjoyed the show. You can follow me at Twitter up there, and you can go to downloadpads.com, that's down there, to read today's article.